Hoi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks. We are in the final week of the regular season. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Oh my god, hello!
It is week 17. We have one more week of the regular season. Almost all the spots have been taken up for the playoffs. Only three remain open, and the AFC South, the NFC North, and I want to say and the last AFC wildcard spot, which can be the fifth or sixth seed depending on how it turns out this week.
Right, yep.
But every other spot's taken up, and there's some teams that I don't like that got in the playoffs, but you can talk about that later.
Right,
Anyway, let's start with the team that if they just won this game, they would have clinched home field advantage most likely.
yep.
But through a weird decision, they chose not to, and I'm talking New England. The Jets have finally beaten New England. Granted, they always play them close, and oh god, I did not hear the end of it from another podcast I listen to who loves the Jets. Oh boy. You did not stop hearing that JETS, 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 Jets chant for so long.
And the issue, and we'll just, I mean, the overall game came down to just the the end of the game. That is the most talked about thing about that game is that ending. And oh man, it was trending even late into the evening that night.
I think it still kind of is.
Yeah, it and we're talking about the decision to defer by Bill Belichick, which may have or may not have been their own decision. I am on the side, and I'm of the thinking that Bill Belichick is sort of kind of covering for the NFL referees, and he's like, I did it, whatever, we'll move on. He doesn't want to cause controversy because that's not what he's like. He's always like, we move on to the next game, and if if he's like raising an objection, then people continuously talk about it, and then he keeps getting asked about it, you know? So I sort of think he's bailing the NFL out on this one. Hey, the Patriots head coach is bailing the NFL out of a scandal because it sure sounded like the referee led the Patriots in making the decision for what they eventually chose to do.
Yeah, but honestly, I couldn't see much of this game. It was a defensive slugfest, but the Jets had control for the most part. Tom Brady didn't have a good day. This was I okay before when we first picked games at the beginning of the season, and especially when the Patriots were undefeated. I kept saying, "Oh, they're not going to be undefeated for the whole season because there is one game I know they're going to lose." This was it. But I thought since they already lost two games, I can't see them dropping this one because you just got to win this and they would be done. This was one of the major upsets this week because there were plenty of upsets to be had. Some just as major, if not even more than this one.
Yeah, and there was some upsets that directly affected the playoffs, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
But
but anyway. So in regards to this game, I don't know why. I don't know why. I would like to have kicked anyway because if you're thinking, oh, the offense was doing bad, like say it was the Jets who came from behind, then fine, I would have been okay with that. I could have believed that. But he had Tom Brady who just scored a touchdown on their asses. He could do
right,
it. He could do it because seriously, between a kick between Gostowski and Randy Bullock, who would you trust more out of 10 times? I would trust. I would
Gostkowski by a
trust
long shot.
Gostowski.
Yep, by a long shot. You know, and I mean, here's the issue. The ending of the game, I felt like Belichick was playing the percentages. That even if they score, they're going to score a field goal. And for the most part, that's typically true with the Patriots defense. They subscribe to that philosophy of bend but don't break.
Honestly, I think Tom Brady could have gotten enough for a field goal, and they could have held off the Jets. For
Yeah,
and
I
made
mean,
and you know, it would have made them have to play too safe. They wouldn't go in for the kill, but the Jets were going for the kill. And wow, I can assure you, Bill, Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to get the biggest 2-year contract ever.
I mean, he he's definitely worth the money. And seriously, look at what happened when you got rid of Geno Smith. You actually could play defense, and you weren't getting brought out onto the field after Geno Smith throws a pick. There you go. Having a real quarterback at that position matters, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, but he is a damn good quarterback.
And they have a draft prospect like Brock Osweiler that they drafted this year. So whenever Fitzpatrick needs to go, and he's going to retire or he gets hurt, this guy might not be forced out so suddenly and asked to carry the team to the Super Bowl. He's
Exactly.
got the time to develop and get better. So
Yeah,
it's perfect right now. But, it's still risky. But anyway, so in the other thing I'm going to say is they just had to win this game, because if they had won, no matter that Broncos Bengals game, no matter how that turned out, they would have clinched home field advantage. But especially if the Bengals beat the Broncos, it would have been not only Houston would have clinched their division, so we'd have 2 spots only here, but the we would have had the Patriots locking up home field advantage.
right.
But now the Patriots have to play. They're in a spot just like another team that could take that should have had the first seed, which we'll talk about later or mention later. But now they have to start. They have to put all their starters out and dominate this team as fast as they can. Which I don't know if they are. I mean, that I want Bill. You want the Dolphins to roll over and die, but they know that they're going to play spoiler just like other teams did this week. They are going to play all that they've got. Whether it'll
Right.
work or not, you have to wait till Sunday.
Right.
But anyway, Bill, any other things to note?
Really not much on that game, because that game really came down to what you thought of the ending of the game. And you heard my opinion on it, and obviously, Belichick made a mistake. If he actually did call that, he made a mistake, but he learns from his mistakes and he moves on from them, and he will never make the same mistake twice.
Yes. But anyway, let's move on to the next game on our list. This one was a blowout. It looked close at the beginning, but then Jim Bob Cooter kicked it into maximum overdrive, and the Detroit Lions punished San Francisco. The score may deceive you and make it think it's close, but really, once Detroit put the pedal to the metal, there was no looking back. Matthew Stafford showing he's a good quarterback. And there's comparisons I've seen to Jay Cutler, but I think he's better than Jay Cutler.
Oh yeah, by a long shot is he
Because
better
to
than
me,
Jay
Jay
Cutler.
Cutler is the middle of the line, whereas if Stafford get it clicking, he can put up a lot of points. I mean, he's a good fantasy quarterback, so I might, if I
He
got into fantasy, I might see if I can draft him. But
he's a 4,000 yard quarterback every year. So I mean, overall, and I'll put it this way: Matthew Stafford over the last 3 games, look at what he's done. He's barely thrown any interceptions. He's learning the offense, which is not stupid like Joe Lombardi's offense was. And look at the results. People keep complaining, why aren't you throwing to Kelvin Johnson more? Why do you need to throw to Kelvin Johnson and force the football in? Because the minute you force the football in, you hear the exact words. And here's the exact words that they go. Why did he force that in there? what do you want him to do? Either throw it to him and force it in there, or you don't throw it to him. I would choose the latter. Don't throw it to him until he's open and you force the coverage to go to Golden Tate, Theoretic. Just keep hitting them because eventually they have to respect Golden Tate and you have to relax your coverage on Calvin and then you start hitting Calvin and he goes in there for touchdowns. It's smart planning. And you see that with the Lions offense now. It's actually clicking, minus a hiccup or two in St. Louis. Over the last 7 games, they're 5-2. They are on the right path. Now, obviously, we're going to see what happens with the new GM. The new GM will decide a lot of different things. But in my belief system, the Detroit Lions are on the right track again. They were on the wrong track with Joe Lombardi, and the offense, Golden Tate bailed them out last year. This year, no one bailed them out. They went 1-7.
To be fair, that was because
The
of Lombardi. But
Lombardi was a issue with it, and so was Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell doesn't get off on my book, but I can see how Detroit will keep him in the offseason, and I can also see how they're not going to keep him in the offseason. It really all depends.
yeah. What was I gonna say? I there was another guy who got a first touchdown. I forget his name. Do you know who I'm talking about, Bill?
Oh,
I don't know if you were
I'm trying.
talking about him a lot because there was a player I know you were talking about earlier in the preseason that wasn't Abdullah. Like there's another player you thought would get better.
George Wynn, or is it Theo Riddick?
No, not Theo Riddick. Theo Riddick's got touchdowns before.
Huh.
I could check. In fact, let me see.
Yeah. I don't remember this.
But and so Stafford's throwing to new players too. He's creating more weapons, which is good. More weapons means it makes it harder on the
On
opponents.
defenses. Yep.
The opponent to catch on. Let me see. I'm trying to see other. There didn't. Okay. Calvin Johnson only made two really big plays, like a 29-yard catch and a touchdown. It was just he just did like a move on the guy and just got easily opened. So I was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
still think he's got it, but
Oh yeah.
Bill, I know I know you. You remember we had a situation last year where I thought Andre Johnson would stay,
Right.
and you said he'd go, and he left. Now we have a similar situation with Megatron, but
Right.
we're switched. You think he's staying because you're being a homer. No offense. To be
Of
fair, I
course.
was too with Andre Johnson, but I think he's going because I think they're gonna get a GM that thinks they can get away with it.
I mean, I can see why they would get rid of him, and he's due a big cap number. He has a huge cap number, and I I know that the cap number is big, but I think that they can work things out with him. I don't
I
think
hope they
he's
can.
I don't think he's a crazy I don't think he's crazy like that because you know I think he actually really likes it here. You know,
I
I
hope
mean,
so
he
too.
could he could have never signed with the Lions after the seasons he went through, but he re-signed with the Lions, and I mean, literally, he could have gotten the same amount of money anywhere else. Anywhere else, he could have went to any other team, but he stuck it here. So if he's stuck in Detroit, I would hope, and I he's still young enough where Andre Johnson was starting to lose his step. Kelvin's
Well,
not.
wait. When
Kelvin's
did
still got
Megatron
4
get
years.
drafted, and when did Andre Johnson get? I think Andre Johnson got drafted in 2003. When did
Uh,
Megatron get drafted? So I know how different their age gaps are.
like '09.
Oh nine, and they're saying he's past the
He
hill.
just he just he just turned 30.
And how old? So that means.
Andre Johnson would be about 35, 36.
And when do
That's
wide
part of the
receivers
reason.
usually retire?
Wide receivers typically, they start getting rid of wide receivers about 38. So, most wide receivers I don't see going past 38. So he's up there.
All right. So he's halfway through his career then.
Yeah.
Then yeah, he should be able to stay. And oh, the player I was thinking of was T.J. Jones. I don't think that's the guy you were talking about. 13.
Nope. I have not talked about T.J. Jones.
This was back
Sadly.
in This was back in the preseason. There was a player we were talking about that was good. I think it was a
Yep.
tight end or another running back that wasn't. It wasn't Abdullah because we were all into the Abdullah hype train.
Yeah.
Who had
That
only
was.
they didn't run the ball that much.
And here's the other issue: is Abdullah still leads the team in rushing, and that needs to stop. When you only have 400 yards rushing, there's a big issue on the offensive line, and they need to fix it big time. Because guess what? They tweeted out the offensive and defensive uh, sabermetrics, and guess who was on the negative end of the sabermetrics? The offensive line. Again, negative. Negative is not good.
So yeah, Bill. Well, you think so? They still need a cornerback. They need an offense. They need offensive linemen, in particular a
Badly.
center.
Yes.
They
Really
won't have
badly.
the luxury of like what the Saints did, traded off Jimmy Graham for a center. Which honestly, I think the difference in their record with Jimmy Graham for the Saints would be maybe one, two more wins at best. I would think they'd be 7-8 right now. They just get one more game in just because they had him. So he's great, but honestly, I think they're better with the linemen in the long run. But
Yes.
I don't know if Detroit's willing to go with something like that too. Plus, who's willing to give up their quality linemen? Seattle only because they're very cocky at the time, and now they've learned their lesson, which now they most definitely have. Which I want to talk about that later. Oh, I do. But anyway,
Russell
what?
Russell Wilson the entire year has been running for his life. So,
Yeah, with a
yeah.
stable center, I've noticed that when people get them, it's usually in the middle or on the edge. Which usually
Yep.
most times it's always from the edges, from a
But
defensive
the
end. But
but
if a
the good
tackle is going through, then you have a problem.
and we'll get to them in a second, but I'll just say one thing. They're getting to him from the edge because he can't run forward because the center is getting pushed back in his face.
Well, that's how. Well, remember that's how I said before. That's how you beat Aaron Rodgers. You
Oh
can't let
yeah.
him take his step, and then all of a sudden he gets swamped. Which oh boy. Speaking of that, let's make the. I have petitioned Bill to I have petitioned to Bill to remove the Dallas games for the rest of this podcast season. So no Dallas
Right.
game this week or next week. There is absolutely no reason to talk about them because unlike Detroit, but Josh, Detroit is not a good team either. Yes, but they've at least turned their season around because if they were still going bad, I would have asked Bill too. Can we not talk about the Lions and to some other teams or some other good games to talk about for this week? I don't know if Bill would say
I
yes, but I would have asked.
well no, I remember earlier this season I took the Lions off the docket for a week or two
Yeah, but you
because
see,
I was
so I think people
disgusted.
understand. I had a little faith in the Cowboys that they would steal one more game from the Bills or the Jets, maybe. But after just seeing their quarterback situation, everything going to shit, it's just nope. I don't see it working. But anyway, let's move on to another game. This time, a playoff team. Surprisingly, because we wrote this team off like we did the Chiefs, rightfully so. But the Houston Texans have pretty much all but clinched their division. They, with Brandon Weeden no less, punished the Titans, the Titans, for existing. It makes me happy. Houston crushed Tennessee 34-6. It should have been a shutout, but Houston let them score a touchdown in garbage time with Zach Mettenberger. Zach Mettenberger has lost every single game he's started, and yes, JJ Watt got a sack selfie on him. No arm, no problem. I still take a selfie.
I mean, he's the only person to ever record an armless selfie.
Yes, but it's fine. Houston just... And they got him out. After he got the strip sack, they took him out, but they didn't take one player out sooner than they should have, Clowney, and I get why. He needs more snaps, but now he's in a boot. He could be out for the rest of the season. Who knows? I say he is, because Houston, depending on the playoff scenario, who they place, which I'll talk about in a minute, could very well be one and done if it's the Chiefs. If the Chiefs go to Houston, right, I will say it, they are one and done. But anyway, so talk about this game specifically. At first, it was in the first few minutes, Houston was up 10-0. Why? Because they do what they do best: turnovers. The Titans in their first drive fumbled the ball, and Quinton Dempsey, the safety, takes it all the way back for an easy touchdown.
Oh yeah.
And you want to know something? I wasn't even, jumping happy. I tried to, but I'm like, it just felt expected. It's like, you ever go into a movie and when something big, supposedly big, happens and you're just not that phased, it's like predictable. Too predictable.
Yep.
That's how I felt. And it wasn't just me. Everyone at the crowd was dead. And it's like, oh, it's this game. We're having this shit again. They know it. Tennessee fans, I feel bad for you. You have my condolences. I still don't like your franchise because, well, I'm kind of glad it's not here because this is what Houston would have had if the Oilers didn't move. Maybe. But and I don't have time for what-ifs and maybes, right?
Right.
So that's why I don't like the Titans at the same time, because they were the Oilers. They belonged here. But Bud Adams left like a little shit. But anyway. So the Texans did what they did. They took care of business. Brandon Weeden did just enough. And it wasn't just him. The guy they just took off the practice squad, they just signed him that week, B.J. Daniels, just did some plays too. They didn't really help much, but he did some stuff. But Brandon Weeden runs in for his first career touchdown. He throws a touchdown, an amazing catch, by the way, by DeAndre Hopkins, who made 2 big plays. Got over 100 yards, 7 catches. Honestly, I don't even know what the Tennessee Titans could draft, because they need so much help. Do you want me to list you everything they need help with, Bill? Actually, here's the thing. How about I tell you what they don't need help in? What do you want me to do? Which list would you rather give you?
I mean, I'd rather the not because, that's shorter.
Alright. Defensive end, defensive tackle, and quarterback. That's it. Everything else isn't need because, like I've said, they are the least talented team. They need talent in every other position, and this is not something one draft can fix.
Right.
They have rookies, and I think Green Beckham's a bust. You and I think that. I don't think he works. Like, did you think he's gonna be Odell Beckham because he's got Beckham in his name? No.
No.
But they need so much help everywhere. Line, secondary, so much, and they're not gonna get it fixed. They got their line fixed with free agency, but they're not gonna be so fortunate because, you know why people would rather go to the Browns? Because they have more drama and they keep drafting QBs. Like, oh, this could be the one, guys. It's like pyrite, false gold. It could be real, it could be something, but usually it never is. But the Titans, they're just so bad. Nobody goes there. It's like, why would I want to play for that bum team? I'll go somewhere else with the team that has a shot at least to go into the playoffs.
Right.
But Bill, one team had that, but A certain player tried that philosophy and now it didn't work. You know who I'm taking a shot at for you. Can you guess?
Steven Jackson?
No, Dodonican Sue
Oh yeah, that
going to win with a
oh
playoff team. And what are their what's
yeah,
their record?
not a playoff team record.
They are
What?
5-10. They're gonna go 5-11, I think. That makes you happy.
Ah, and you know the best thing, just getting a little sidetracked, just because you brought it up, is that the Lions will finish with a better record than the Dolphins, and they have Sue, and we don't. And
Yeah,
we were supposed to be so much worse without him, and they were supposed to be so much better with him, and the opposite happened.
it didn't happen. But
But
Bill,
anyway,
oh,
back to our game.
back to this game. DeAndre Hopkins. I they. Oh, here's a scary stat. I found this out. In the whole division, whole AFC South, how many people went to the Pro Bowl from the AFC South, Bill? Pick a number. Hint. It's a single digit.
7.
High. I'll tell
4.
you. What'd you say?
4.
Still high. 2.
Whoa! Oh my!
And who did we talk about last week that went to the Pro Bowl? Who were those players?
Wasn't it DeAndre Hopkins and JJ?
Yep, just them. They are the only people in the whole division going to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is sad. Who knows? Here's a surprise. Adam Vinatieri didn't go because Dan Bailey and Gostowski went, but I have no doubt Gostowski's going to be in the Super Bowl, so it'll be fine. So probably Vinatieri will go. So it could be 3, but even so, that's just right now at the moment. It's just incredibly sad. It shows you how very little talent there is in the NFC or the AFC South. Though that can be not true in a way because I could have understood T.Y. Hilton going, but it's the same case. He doesn't have Andrew Luck. Without him, he's how do I put it? He's a average catcher. He's an average wide receiver. It's kind of like he needs this guy to feed off of. It's like it's mutual it's symbiosis, the science term. Is that what they call
Yeah,
it?
like
They benefit off each other.
yeah.
You take it away, he can't thrive anymore. But
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, on the other hand, don't matter who you put at quarterback, he still puts up 100 yards and a touchdown. Oh, and the last touchdown, by the way, was by Nate Washington. Had to stick it to his former team. Seriously, they would have had a wide receiver if they kept him, but he moved to Houston, which he'll probably retire here too. But anyway,
Yeah.
the defense was dominant, forced 3-and-outs. In the first half, they had nothing but punts. 6 punts after that fumble.
Oh jeez.
Oh, and by the way, they also fumbled in a punt return. Shane Leckler punted it in the 10, and then the guy tried to run, but Houston knocked the ball out of his hands, and that was it. It was only a field goal, though. It should have been a touchdown. Honestly, it could have been 39 or 40 to 6, and that would have just would have been worse. But
Yeah, I mean, overall, the game was just. It was in Houston's palm, the playoffs, and they seized the moment and they went for it. And that's what you want to see from your team.
okay, before we move on, the Colts are still in it because they beat Miami and because Denver beat Cincinnati. Now, counting that was step 1 for Denver to beat Cincinnati to get in the playoffs. Do you want to know steps 2 through 10, Bill? It's a very complicated process for them to get in. Do you want me to tell you? I think
How?
what?
How? They would need Pittsburgh to lose. They would need. They would probably need Kansas City to lose. They would need Houston to lose. Be
Yes.
some weird shit like
There's
that.
more. There's more. They need the Bills to lose. They need the Patriots to lose. They need the Bengals to lose. They even need some NFC games. They need the Falcons to lose. They need the Panthers to lose. There's
Wow.
one more game. Oh, and of course they have to beat the Titans. That's the last thing. There's so many games have to go in their way, and honestly, from how my picks are this week, they're gonna get almost there, but obviously not quite. But anyway, Bill, let's move on. Like I said, we removed the Dallas game, so one game's gonna replace it, and after some thought, we chose the one that would make Bill the most happy. Green Bay. Everyone was hyping Green Bay. Oh, without Honey Badger, the Cardinals are exposed. Aaron Rodgers will expose their defense. They cannot rush the quarterback at all. Aaron Rodgers is gonna keep up with Arizona's hot offense and beat them. Nope, not the case. Not the case at all. Arizona showed they have depth, and honestly, I think they are the best team in football right now. Carson
I
Palmer
would have to agree.
Carson Palmer lit it up, and also the Packers offensive line just didn't show up. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 8 times, I believe, hit 12 times, and knocked back 11 times. I want to say I could have some of those numbers wrong, but there's
Yeah.
no exaggeration when it was an utter curb stomp by the Cardinals.
Yes. The Cardinals came in, took the cheese heads, and pecked them to death. I mean, it
Can you
was
believe they were the underdogs despite them having this vastly superior record?
that, and that's the crazy thing. That is the ultimate crazy thing. People are way too quick to make the Packers out to be this great team. Sure, you have a good quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, a great quarterback, but he is not Peyton Manning, he is not Tom Brady, and he is not Drew Brees. And not even Drew Brees. If you took a 2-14 team and you gave it to Aaron Rodgers, you would see a 7-9 record or an 8-8 record. If you gave a 2-14 team to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, they would be 14-2.
Well, they'd be at least playoff bound, in my opinion. Well,
I
with
mean,
Peyton, I mean.
look at look at the Colts when they lost Manning. That was a 2-14 football team.
Yeah, and they let him go, which I think was their
Without
mistake.
without him, without him, they went 2-14. That's a 2-14 football team without Peyton Manning. Now, if you lose Aaron Rod, let's say the Packers lost Aaron Rodgers,
They,
I
I
think
think,
this is a 2-14 football team.
yeah. But Bill, talk about this game specifically. Tell me how the Cardinals' defense just was ready for anything and everything Aaron Rodgers could literally throw at them.
Literally, Aaron Rodgers could not do anything that he typically does, and he is having a horrendous season without Jordy Nelson.
Part of me thinks it's not just that. Everyone's quick to say it's just Jordy Nelson, but I think it's just a combination of that. Their run game has been bad because remember Eddie Lacy was a problem for most of the season. He was a
Right.
big, for not no pun intended, a big problem for them. I'm in no position to
He
judge someone by their weight, of course, but
here's
and it was the offensive line. They did not protect him
Yes,
at all.
yes. That is their big issue right now. Their offensive line got exposed by the Arizona
Who is
Cardinals, and
supposedly a
guess
bad
what?
defense up front. Their front seven's supposedly not good. I think it's one of those dark horse defenses.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals defense. Look at the teams that they would have to play in the playoffs. The Cardinals defense, great.
Panthers.
Panthers defense, great.
And
Seahawks
if they win
defense,
this
even
week, Bill, they gotta play Seattle, who I have no doubt is angry.
yes.
Not just
I
because
mean,
of this week, but for what happened at week 2. They will not be
yes.
happy.
I mean, you have to play the CL defense. That's a nasty defense. I mean, just look at the NFC defenses in the playoffs. That's what's scary
Actually, I
about
would say
this.
both sides have great defense. This might be a historical year of defenses and teams overall. Look at these
Yep.
teams and tell me how many of them have no good defense. Let's see. I'm going to list all the teams that could get the playoffs, okay? Minus
Okay.
Pittsburgh, because we know they're got better over the year. But no, let's
Yeah.
disregard them. The teams that are in contention right now. Patriots defense. People argue it's one of the best since '04. Denver's
I
defense
would.
is number one in historic ways.
Yep.
Bengals defense is okay. It's solid. I don't think I think
Yeah.
it's above average. Texans
It's an
defense
above
is
average.
great once they figured shit out and realized we got to turn over
Yep.
the ball. Turnover heavy. Jets defense great, always has been great. Chiefs
Yep.
defense has been great, especially always has been great. Cardinals
Yep.
defense great. Panthers defense great. Washington's about average. Vikings defense
I,
is great. And Seattle's defense is great with a chip on its shoulder. The Packers have no place here because they also have no defense. It shows defense wins championships. The defenses have won most of these teams, if not all of them, their titles and their playoff
I mean,
spots.
and if you really think of the last 10 weeks for the Packers, they got lucky to beat the Lions because of a Jim Caldwell mess up. They they got absolutely manhandled by the Cardinals.
They
They
got
got
absolutely manhandled by the
manhandled by
Broncos because what wins championships, Bill? Defenses.
yes. The Packers are in major trouble, and they don't have an offense to win. Their offense is, and I will say this with an Aaron Rodgers at the helm, their offense is garbage. It is terrible. Mike McCarthy is the most overrated head coach in football, and this he he's calling a game like you still have the same personnel. Eddie Lacy is not the same Eddie Lacy. James Starks is fumbling the football at a scary rate. Aaron Rodgers is throwing picks at a scary rate. You don't have Jordy Nelson, and your best wide receiver is Randall Cobb, who they're double covering constantly, and they
And he's
don't.
meant to
You
be a number
don't
two
have
guy.
yeah, he's meant to be number two. They don't have anyone that a defense scares them. The only person that scares them on that team is Aaron Rodgers. You put someone to contain him.
Yeah, he can't even run. He can't run. That's what made him so dangerous because he could run. But other quarterbacks have
Exactly.
found ways to get around that slightly. Like
If
Russell
you
Wilson. Alex Smith, without Jamal Charles, just outruns teams. He just can find ways to get away.
exactly. The thing about it is that if no team is afraid of the screen pass to Eddie Lacy, then you are in a world of hurt because Eddie Lacy is what makes that offense click. And when Eddie Lacy's not right, you can tell. And the offensive line is not giving them any ish. The offensive line is not giving them any pass blocking. You know?
Yeah. So speaking of Eddie Lacy, there was that fumble drop that Aaron Rodgers made that got taken to the house. Eddie Lacy tried to grab that guy. He just shrugged him off. And the big dude. He's bigger than him. Just shook him off, no problem. It was a
Yep.
fun day to be a Cardinals fan. And I'm
Oh
not a
yeah.
fan of the Cardinals, but I really want Patriots v Cardinals, and I honestly wouldn't be mad at whoever won. Sure, I'll be bummed out when if the Patriots lost that day, but at the end of the day or at the end of the week, I would be okay. Because
Right.
honestly, the Cardinals should have been there last year. They should have been there last year if Carson Palmer didn't get hurt. And then would
Right.
we be hearing Aaron Rodgers for MVP that year? No, I think we would have heard Arizona or for Carson Palmer. And honestly now, let's just mention it. The Panthers are no longer undefeated. They lost to the Falcons. I really wish I could have picked that, but I don't. I didn't
The
want to
MVP.
pick. What?
The and I'm the do a early thing right now. The MVP of the league should be Carson Palmer.
It's hard to because I think everyone's just already declared Cam Newton there. Unless he gets eliminated in the first game he's got against whoever, I think he's secured, all but secured it because it's just, it's like the damage has been done, and you can't undo all of it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
Carson.
And you can't. And the MVP selected before the Super Bowl. If it was decided after, and if the Cardinals went to the Super Bowl, it could have very well maybe be an upset. But I just don't think it'll happen. It's sad.
I am on the Carson Palmer for MVP hype train.
I am too. I would like Brady, but I think Palmer deserves it. Brady's got Super Bowl fucking rings, so what does he need? What does he need another MVP award for? What does he need that? He wants to make. He
True.
wants to be in a league of his own with one more Super Bowl trophy. And I'm okay with him
Yep.
getting it. But anyway, so yeah. On that note, let's talk about those big upsets, Bill, because it wasn't just Arizona. Which yeah, everyone just stop doubting Arizona. In fact, you can keep making them that league because they're the Seahawks of 2 years ago and last year. You put them down, you think they're not gonna come. They're not gonna do anything. They're nothing special. They just got lucky. And where do they go? They're going to go far, I think. But anyway, so the Panthers lost to the Falcons. Julio Jones just shredded Josh Norman. And it was
Yep.
it was it was a nice catch too. I thought it was a great catch, but I don't know. I don't know. Something's going on with them, and I think it starts because the Panthers, I've heard, have lost some key players. They lost Ted Ginn Jr., they've lost some players on defense, and I think that's going to haunt them. They have a bye, which is good for them. They're not losing that. But is it
Right.
enough time? Will they have enough time? That's to me the bigger issue because now they have to play to win. They have to beat the Buccaneers this week, which luckily they host them.
Right.
But Buccaneers are going to play spoiler. Granted, I thought they should have taken care of business against the bum Bears, but I don't know. I think the Panthers will just crush the Buccaneers, even though I'm picking the
Right.
Buccaneers this week. Bill, it's for my playoff scenario, and you know that.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, I'm picking the Buccaneers to upset it because I think it's the Cardinals who deserve home field advantage. They deserved it last year and all that jazz.
Right.
But it's not just that one, Bill. What's the other upsets? First, let's talk about the team that really didn't want to win the NFC East, but somebody did, Bill. The Washington football team. NFC East champions, Bill. They went from worst to first, while Dallas went from first to worst. That's
Yep.
everything flipped on its head this season for the NFC East.
And then I like how the second place team and the third place team also flipped.
It's sad. It is. Oh boy, Deshaun Jackson got to stick it to his team. He stuck a fork in Chip Kelly. Oh, and here's the crazy part: they're going to re-sign Sam Bradford, which I think is smart because they're not going to get a quarterback here in the draft this year. I think Houston's going to find a way to get some quarterback, like Connor Cook, Jared Goff, one of them. I really want them to draft one still, because if you're going to have this revolving door of quarterbacks, at least have one that could be the future.
Right. Exactly.
And I think they should, because what do they really need? What do they need now? I think they have corners covered, they have linebackers covered, they have the front seven covered. Offense is fine. I mean, you could argue a running back, but guess what? Leonard Fournette's not in this draft. I would not want to go for a running back because I can't think of any that is ready to get in the draft.
Right.
So I'm like, get a quarterback,
Leonard
get your
Fournette's
franchise.
going to be a very special player.
Oh yeah, and you think Todd Gurley is amazing? It's just going to be him. It's going to be him and Leonard Fournette being representing the running backs. Here's an interesting thing. What?
I was gonna say, you know who Leonard Fournette reminds me of? A mixture of Marcus Allen and Walter Payton.
Here's the thing. If Adrian Peterson doesn't lose gas next year and the year after that, you could have an era where you have Adrian Peterson, Todd Gurley, who will have much more experience and be a better player, and then you have Leonard Fournette probably being the rookie of the year that time when he gets in the draft, because he's not going to go for 4 years. He is not.
Right. No.
So imagine that you could have all three of them, three who could be like the best running backs ever in the same year. It won't last long. It would be the year of the running
Right.
back that year. But that would be interesting. Anyway, so yeah, Washington won just because they had to beat Philly, and they did. Called that.
Yeah.
Oakland won a thriller against San Diego. Charles Woodson got set off. I would have loved if he pulled off the play of getting the ball and throwing it to Derek Carr for the touchdown. I wish he just did it anyway, just to try it, but oh man.
Right.
What?
No, I said right.
But he still left on a hero's note for Oakland. I wish he'd stay another year, but there's only one person who can determine whether or not you can still play in the NFL, and that's yourself. I've heard a couple stories from, like, the old Jacksonville Jaguars running back, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah, MJD.
Yep. I remember his last season was with Oakland, and it was then that year he realized, I can't do it anymore. I can't.
Yep.
I have to go because I'm bringing this team down now, and it's because I'm just old. I can't control that.
Right.
And I think while we were all saying, "Oh, Charles Woodson could play till he's 300 and be fine," he realized I don't have that same drive anymore. It's down. I'm gonna fall off a cliff. It's like if Peyton Manning retired when he realized he fell off the cliff. When he was
Yep.
done. But it's fine. I hope Charles Woodson doesn't go away though. Like, I want him to do other stuff. I don't care what it is though.
Yeah,
But
Charles Woodson's really fun.
because I've looked into his story and it's impressive. And you mentioned he stole the fricking what's that? The Heisman from Peyton Manning.
Yep.
He stole that thing
Yep.
from him. And
Yep.
do you have any other Charles Woodson stories from Michigan?
I watched him win a national title with the University of Michigan.
Which one was that?
He the year 1995.
No, what's the title called?
Uh,
The name.
the national title.
Oh, I don't.
It's the national championship.
Was this before they started calling it
it
like a
was-
bowl?
It was prior to the BCS.
Oh, okay.
The BCS came about in 2000, and that lasted until 2013, and then last year was the playoff, the national championship playoff.
Playoffs.
And before that, it was just a bunch of the coaches, the national coaches, voted. In fact, 1995 is the year that there was co-national champions. The University of Nebraska and the University of Michigan co-national champions.
Wow, that feels like
Even though,
that feels awkward. I bet those two wanted to fight to see who would be the real one, the one above the other.
even though the University of Michigan was the better football team by a long shot than Nebraska, but I mean that's semantics, and that was 20 years ago. But I mean, Charles Woodson was my favorite player on that team, and I can remember watching him play in college, and he obviously he became what he became.
Yeah. So, Bill, let's talk another upset. I'm talking, oh boy, Case Keenum for president.
Yep.
What did the Rams do, Bill? What did they do?
They absolutely shocked the Seahawks.
They're no longer invincible at home. They are not. The Clink
That
was
is correct.
the most dangerous place to play. I think we could say that's Arrowhead Stadium now.
Yep.
But
Yep. I can agree.
Todd Gurley did this phenomenal move. If he didn't get a fumble out of it, I thought that would have been a play of the week. He just jumped over a Seattle defensive player, but because he's so vulnerable in the air, another one next to him just knocked the ball out of his hands. So a Ram player did catch it, so it was fine.
Right.
But and he scored right after that. But just, oh boy, that would have been a highlight for the year if he just got over that, didn't get hit or dropped the ball, and took it to the house.
Right.
But
Yeah.
anyway, Case Keenum doesn't even throw that much here, and I think that's fine because if they can successfully run the ball, Case Keenum can hit what he needs to do. Because I say if he's gonna play like this as a Ram, then don't even put him on your team, your fantasy team, because It's
Right.
his job to get the throws when he needs to do it. And then it's Todd Gurley's
Exactly.
job to do the rest. Todd Gurley is carrying, but I still think they are a lineman. They need a lineman or two, and a real wide receiver threat from being a real dangerous contender. Because if they
Mm-hmm.
have something who's at least around like Des Bryant, maybe less of a tier, because I put Des very low now, or
Yeah.
someone like Golden Tate to Des in terms of athletic ability, and then they will be dangerous. But anyway, the next
Yep.
game, the next upset, Bill, this one, freaking Ryan Mallett comes into Baltimore with the this team is the worst team, about as bad as Tennessee, but it's all because of injuries, not because of natural talent. They didn't have all their starters. I think they've only got one starter left from the beginning of the season, and I don't even know what position
Right.
that is.
I don't even
Ryan
know
Mallett
either.
carried this team and beat Pittsburgh, who was like they just had to win, and they would have been in the playoffs most likely. But now they need the
Yep.
Jets to lose this week. They need the Jets to beat them. Or they need the Jets to lose to Buffalo this week in order, and then they got to win their own game against the Browns, and they're in. I have
That's
no words, Bill. You would have thought, okay, you would have thought the Steelers would just run over the Baltimore Ravens, beat them 50-0, and then switch out Ben Roethlisberger at the half. But
right.
no, he could not do
Nope.
anything right, and I guess this shows you a division game can be really hard. But this is the
Yep.
sad thing. Not only do they pretty much they might have lost their season, but they lost it to a bum Baltimore team, and they got swept by Baltimore. They lost both at home and here at Baltimore.
And that's what's crazy.
The first game they had Joe Flacco. This one was just Ryan Mallett, who was signed off the streets a week or so ago. I can't tell
Yeah.
what's worse, Bill. Oh, the fact that they got
I.
swept by Baltimore, because Pittsburgh hates Baltimore. They hate them. They hate each other, but we know that we've always joked about the bloodbath.
Yep.
But what's worse, they got swept by Baltimore, or they just pretty much have likely lost their playoff opportunity because of them. What's worse, Bill?
I mean.
If you were a
I
Pittsburgh
mean,
fan, what would feel worse?
not going to the playoffs
Ugh.
because of Baltimore.
It's sad, but you know what? Pittsburgh just didn't show up. They were really high off beating Denver. And it bit them in the ass, I guess. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
I think that is all the games I want to mention. Do you have anything worth mentioning, Bill?
Not really.
Alright. Then, are you ready for the picks this week?
I am.
There is one other thing, but I want to save that for next week when more stuff talks. And it was about Peyton Manning. Bill, I expect your Peyton Manning fan side to show up and just, defend it. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about, but I want to save that for
Oh
if
yeah.
more details actually come through. I, for one, don't believe
Right.
it. Even if Peyton Manning always beat the Texans, I don't buy it.
I flat out don't believe it.
Yep. I want to hear more details, and I want Peyton to sue. But Bill, you're ready for this week's picks. I have lost. I will concede defeat. But if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down swinging. I have a lot of different picks this week, and I could make myself better or worse depending on how these go. It's week 17. It's really unpredictable. For all we
You
know,
never know.
the Colts could get in the playoffs if everything happened, because week 17 is crazy. All right, Bill,
Right.
start us off. We have no Thursday games or Monday games. All today in one day.
Yep. And here we go. The New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills.
I think the Jets, 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 will beat Rex Ryan's team. And Rex Ryan might get fired. I don't think he will, but it would not surprise me that the Buffalo organization would do it. Because he hyped up that team so much for what? To reach the same record that they did last year, or close enough to it.
I also got the Jets.
So they would finish at 11-5.
Yep. Next up, the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins.
Patriots have to stomp the Dolphins, and seeing as how bad and ugly they played against the freaking Colts, I could expect that the Patriots will just punish them. Punish them for existing, please. I have the Patriots winning this one and clinching first round bye.
I have Gronk taking the Dolphin out of the water and snapping it in half. The Patriots win.
It's a little too graphic, Bill.
Next up, the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons.
This one's a coin toss game. I'll be honest, Bill. But by the way, I'm surprised you didn't mention that you're gonna throw that dolphin at Ndamukong Suh, because I thought you were gonna make it one last Ndamukong Suh shot, which we might get one next week. But I have the Falcons because they're at home. This game could go either way. It could be a blowout for one or the other, I think.
I think this is a 52-49 game, and it's going to be the Falcons who come out winning.
Oh, God, Julio Jones tearing it up.
Yep. Next up, the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears.
I have the Lions. Jim Bob Cooter for president, and who knows, maybe Caldwell can keep his job if they blow out the Bears, which I don't think it will happen.
The Bears are going to get the Cooters, and they're going to lose to the Lions.
All right, next one.
Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants.
I have the Giants winning. Odell Beckham will be back. He's going to torch Byron Maxwell, and get 2 touchdowns. And everyone's just going to suck his dick once again.
Here comes the 42-35 game. The New York Giants win.
All right, next one.
Next up, the Washington football team at the Dallas
Washington.
Cowboys.
Washington will just play for half of the game and then bench it. Honestly, this is going to feel like a preseason game because the Cowboys know they're done. They should just rest all their starters, and if they do it, I think Washington will do the same. I'm picking Washington.
I got Washington as well.
Just Cowboys have no chance.
The Cowboys defense.
By the way, I have something to say once we get to the Houston game in regards to the Houston-Dallas interstate rivalry. Just continue, Bill.
All right. The Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, boy. If Mariota were here and playing this game, and the Colts just they don't have anybody. Look, you know how they could start Josh Freeman or Ryan Lindley. That's right. You thought you didn't hear him again, but he's there. Ryan Lindley might start this game. I don't know, but somebody has to win, and I think I have Indianapolis simply because they're the home team, and the Titans are the least talented team in football.
And I've got the Tennessee Titans blowing out the Indianapolis Colts at home.
You mean to tell me Zach Mettenberger will win his first game?
Yes.
Well, it didn't matter, so it's fine.
Alright, here we go. The Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ryan Mallett's going to keep up with A.J. McCarron if he starts, but I expect A.J. McCarron to start, but I have the Bengals barely winning this one.
I also have the Bengals winning.
Nothing to add?
Next up.
Wow.
Nah?
It's there's a lot
the
of
Bengals are going to run the football. That's what I expect.
There's a lot of stud or dud games this week. Either some games are juicy or they're just, why are they even here? They don't matter.
Exactly. And here we go. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns.
I have the Browns. Johnny Manziel is going to win this game from Ben Roethlisberger, and it's going to just put more questions in the Cleveland organization. Do you keep him? Do we kick him?
I have a shootout game, but the Steelers win at the very end.
But they're out of the playoffs.
42-38.
But they'll be out because we picked the Jets.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans.
I have the Texans pummeling the Jaguars. They might hang in the fourth quarter, but I think Houston will win But that's let me mention that thing. Some Cowboy
Okay.
fan was like, "Oh, shut up, Houston fans! You're just beating the Tennessee Titans." Well, I got news for you. What's the difference between the Texans or the Cowboys and the Titans? The Cowboys just have one more win above them. You're supporting a scrub team yourself, so don't go telling me that shit. Oh, but we don't have Tony Romo. Well, guess what? Houston started 5 or 6 quarterbacks right now, and they're going to the playoffs. So don't give me that shit. Your players aren't even playing for their coach anymore. They're not even trying. Houston has been fighting at least. They fought hard at the end of the season, and now look where they're at. Even I did. Even I doubted them, and quite frankly, I don't want them in the playoffs so they could have a higher draft pick. But hey, the chips fell, and I have to believe in it. So yeah, this season, this is Houston's season over Dallas. None of those. Oh, Dallas is so salty. But get over it. Get good. That's all I gotta say to you. Get good. Okay, I just wanted to get that. I wanted to just bash the Cowboys fans. Which that reminds me. I remember the first game against the Titans. Some Titans fans like, "Oh, Tennessee's the better team." I was like, "Well, can you still tell me that now, son? Can you still tell me that?" But anyway, you got to pick, Bill. I know I went on for a while, so you might have forgot. This is the picks. Who do you got?
It, I got the Titans. They're done beating the
Titans.
Jaguars pretty. Or I meant the Texans. We you said Titans last. I was like, Titans. No, Texans. Oh my God.
Houston
Oh
gonna
man.
be AFC South chance because somebody has to be. This is the AFC version of the NFC East. Somebody's got to win this mess. All right, I got all that out there now. I'm good.
All right, here we go. The 4 o'clock games. The Oakland Raiders at the Kansas City
Here come
Chiefs.
more of my crazy picks. I have the Raiders going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs. Remember when they doubted the Broncos, or he thought the Broncos would beat the Raiders? Khalil Mack showed up and said no. You and I were the only ones who picked the Raiders in the whole freaking country that weren't a Raiders fan. So I'm doing it again. I'm gonna side with the one nobody believes in.
And I got Kansas City because they're looking for the division, even though I don't think
No,
that's
they
going to
lost
happen.
the division now because Denver won one more game. That's what they need. That's what they needed. They needed the Broncos to lose out or just lose the last two
Oh,
games. This one didn't matter, but let me check actually. No, there's no way. There's no way they could lose it. The Broncos have
okay.
clinched the division, but okay. Bill, the reason why I also picked the Raiders, I don't think I said it on on video. I said it to you before.
Right.
If the if the if the Raiders beat the Chiefs, then that means this playoff scenario will happen. The Jets will go to Houston and the Chiefs will go to the Bengals. The Jets will get curb stomped by Houston again, so that means they would go on. The Chiefs, I believe, because there's no way Andy Dalton's going to play, even if AJ McCarron was healthy, I believed more in Alex Smith and he'll beat the Bengals. That means the Chiefs are the lowest number, so they go to New England. Houston, on the other hand, go to Denver. Remember I was saying, oh, Denver's defense so great? Okay, let's have the best defensive slugfest. Houston and Denver.
Right.
And I think Houston could get to Brock Osweiler. He needs to say hello. He needs to say howdy to J.J. Watt. That you're not an official NFL quarterback unless you're sacked by Watt. It's the right of honor.
So true.
So where they go from there on, I don't know. I'm going Houston for that one just because I'm a homer, but we'll see. So yeah, that's my playoff scenario. I need the Chiefs to lose and the Jets to win, so that way the Jets go to Houston.
Oh man.
Next game.
All right. The San Diego Chargers at the Denver Broncos.
I have the Broncos beating the Chargers. There's absolutely no way the Chargers could take this one. I hope I'm wrong though. I just want more chaos.
And I've got the Broncos defense strangling the Chargers, so
If it
I
happens
got the
though,
Broncos.
if it happens, the Bengals would take the second seed. So they can't afford to lose this.
Again, the Denver Broncos defense is going to score more points than Brock Osweiler.
Oh, that wouldn't that be
Next up,
fun?
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers.
There's another one. I know this won't happen, but I'm going for it anyway. Going big or going home. I'm going the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston will outplay Cam Newton, and the Cardinals will get the first seed.
And I got Carolina. Their defense is going to strangle the Buccaneers.
That's fair. I'm just going it because I have no other choice.
Speaking of good games, the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals.
I have the Cardinals punishing the Seahawks. It was bad enough Seattle lost to the Rams at home, but now they're just going to get punished by the Cardinals. Cardinals will finish 14-2. Beautiful record, if you do say so myself.
The Cardinals will crush the Seahawks this week.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, absolutely crush them.
All right, Bill, next game.
Right. Here we go. St. Louis Rams at the San Francisco 49ers.
I have the Rams winning, punishing the 49ers. I expect Case Keenum to get two touchdown passes, one to Todd Gurley and one to Austin Davis.
What I always say, Case Keenum wins you games. Case Keenum wins this game. St. Louis Rams win.
All right, Bill. And the final game of the season is
the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers
for the NFC North title, and I have the Packers winning this because I need more chaos.
And I have the Minnesota Vikings.
There's going to be a lot of run game.
Running wild on the Packers defense.
Don't even, take off the wide receivers. Don't even put them or tight ends. Just put nothing but linemen. Yeah, that's all it's going to be doing. Run, 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 run. Run, Forrest, run!
Run!
So, Bill, my NFC scenario would be the Packers would host Seattle, and I expect Seattle to just crush them in revenge. Minnesota crushes the Washington football team. But if your scenario happens, the Vikings would host Seattle and probably get curb stomped by them again. And Green Bay going to Washington. Sounds fun either way, but I just want Seattle to get their revenge.
You know what would be fun? Washington against Green Bay and Washington wins.
Oh boy, the drama. It's like, what happened to my greatest of all time quarterback? You were looking in the wrong direction. The greatest quarterback's in the AFC right now, and his name is Tom Brady.
You like that? You like that?
You like that? You like that? I need to get that as an audio file. But anyway, that'll do it. That'll be it for the regular season of football. We will be back for the wild card rounds of the playoffs. We're almost to the Super Bowl, Bill. We're less than 50 days away, maybe 40 at the time of this recording.
I think 49-ish?
Yep, the Super Bowl's on February 7th, so we are getting there, Bill. We're at least 5 weeks away, I think.
Something like that.
All right, so that'll do it. I have nothing else to say. How about you, Bill?
I'm pretty much done.
All right, then. We'll see you guys next week at the first round of the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?